All right, so get this. We're diving deep into AI voice generation today, specifically digging into some information from play.ht. You
Oh,
know how we usually end up talking about the future on these deep dives?
yeah.
Well, this one feels like the future is already here. We're talking AI voices that can sound like actual people, accents, emotions,
Oh,
the whole 9 yards.
yeah.
Play.ht says they have over 800 AI voices
Really?
in 142 languages.
Like a lot.
800. That's like a whole stadium full of voices. Plus, they can create custom voices
Mm-hmm.
and even clone existing ones. I'm honestly a little speechless,
Mm.
which seems ironic given the topic.
Yeah, a little bit.
But let's back up for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly makes an AI voice generator tick?
Right.
I'm curious to hear how it all actually works.
So what's really interesting is how AI and machine learning are used to transform plain text into something that sounds genuinely human.
Okay.
We're not talking about that old school robotic text-to-speech.
Hmm.
This is about mimicking the subtleties of a human voice. Things like tone, pacing, even emotion.
Uh-huh.
And it's all done by training these systems on huge data sets of real voice recordings.
I see.
PlayHT claims their AI is so good, people can't tell the difference.
So you're saying they've basically taught AI to sound human. I'm hooked already. What can you tell me about play.ht specifically?
Well, PlayHT boasts a pretty impressive range, 800 plus voices, 142 languages, and the ability to tailor the speech style.
Wow.
Think about it. You could choose a conversational style for your podcast,
Right.
a more formal tone for an e-learning course,
Mm.
or a dramatic flair for a fictional audiobook.
Hmm.
They even offer a free version so anyone can experiment with this tech.
Whoa, different voices for different purposes. I
Yeah.
like that. It's not just one size fits all. But okay, let's talk about this voice cloning thing.
Right.
That's got to be the most mind-bending part for me.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
How do they make AI sound like a specific person?
Picture this.
Uh-huh.
You take a bunch of voice recordings from someone
Okay.
and use them to train a powerful AI model. The AI breaks down those recordings,
Uh-huh.
analyzing the unique characteristics of that person's voice. Their tone, their pacing, even the tiny inflections that make them unique. It's like building a voice fingerprint.
Wow.
Once the AI learns those patterns, it can generate new speech that sounds almost identical to the original speaker.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So play.ht can basically create a digital twin of anyone's voice. I mean, that's gotta have some pretty big implications, right?
It does. Imagine being able to hear an audiobook narrated by your favorite author.
Right.
Even if they've never actually recorded it. Or think about creating an animated film with voices that sound exactly like famous actors.
Okay.
The possibilities are huge.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. But what about the practical stuff? Like, what could someone actually use this tech for? I'm seeing applications everywhere.
You're not wrong. Play.ht suggests using it for everything from audiobooks and e-learning to video games and those AI chatbots that are popping up everywhere.
That's a pretty diverse range. And if PlayHT is right about their AI being so realistic,
Right.
well, that changes things, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We're talking about potentially changing how we consume and create all kinds of content.
Wow.
Imagine a world where you could listen to any article or document read aloud in a voice that sounds completely natural.
Hmm.
Or think about how this could make information more accessible to people with visual impairments.
Okay, you've officially blown my mind. But before I get carried away dreaming up AI voiceovers for my grocery list, let's talk cost. Is this something only big companies can afford, or can regular people get in on the action?
Well, that's one of the things that makes this so interesting.
Okay.
Based on what I'm seeing on PlayHT's website, they have different pricing options to make it accessible.
Right.
Voice cloning has a one-time cost,
Uh-huh.
while speech generation is based on usage. Plus, there's that free trial we mentioned.
So it's not just for the big players.
Right.
That's great news. It seems like this technology could be a game changer for a lot of people.
Exactly. Think about independent creators, educators, small businesses. They can all leverage this tech to create high-quality audio content without needing a huge budget or fancy equipment. It's like putting a recording studio in everyone's pocket.
Ooh, recording studio in your pocket. I like
Uh-huh.
that. It feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
We are, and this is where things get really fascinating.
Okay.
What if we start thinking about the broader implications?
Right.
Not just for individual creators, but for society as a whole.
Uh-huh.
This could change the way we communicate, the way we learn, even the way we experience entertainment.
All right, now I'm fully on board for this deep dive. Let's unpack some of those bigger ideas. Where do we even start?
Well, think about how we consume information today.
Yeah,
A lot of it is visual, reading articles, watching videos.
right.
But what if audio became the dominant format?
Mm,
With AI voices, you could have any text read aloud to you. News articles, emails, even entire books,
okay.
while you're commuting, exercising, or doing other tasks. It could be a huge time saver and open up new ways to multitask.
That's a really interesting point. I'm a big audiobook fan.
Oh, yeah.
But even I have to admit, sometimes my eyes glaze over after hours of listening.
Yeah, I can see that.
But if the voices were more engaging, more varied,
Yeah,
yeah, I could see myself consuming a lot more content that way.
exactly. And think about education.
Okay.
Imagine history lessons narrated by AI voices that sound like historical figures, or language learning apps where you can practice conversations with AI tutors who speak with perfect accents.
Okay.
It could revolutionize the way we learn.
Okay, now I'm picturing an AI Albert Einstein explaining the theory of relativity.
Haha.
Sign me up for that class. But let's not get too carried away.
Right.
What about the flip side? Are there any potential downsides to this tech becoming so widespread?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is the potential for job displacement.
Yeah.
If AI can create realistic voiceovers for videos, audiobooks, and other content, what happens to voice actors and narrators? It's a valid concern.
That's true. But on the other hand, this technology could also create new opportunities.
Yeah.
Think about people who might not have the resources or equipment to create professional-sounding audio content.
Right.
With AI voice generation, the barriers to entry are lowered,
Uh-huh.
allowing more people to share their stories and ideas.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's all about adaptation
Yeah,
and finding new ways to leverage this technology.
right.
Maybe voice actors could specialize in creating unique voices for AI models, or focus on more complex roles that require human nuance and improvisation.
It's like any technological advancement, right? There will be challenges,
Uh-huh.
but also new possibilities that we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I'm still kind of hung up on that whole voice cloning thing.
Yeah.
It feels like we're stepping into some serious science fiction territory here.
It does feel futuristic, doesn't it? The technology is already here, and it's only going to get more sophisticated. Imagine a world where you can have a conversation with an AI that sounds exactly like a loved one who has passed away.
Wow.
Or think about the potential for preserving historical voices,
Right.
like those of famous leaders or artists.
Yeah.
It's both fascinating and a little bit unsettling.
Definitely unsettling. It makes you think about what it really means to have a unique voice and what happens when technology starts to blur those lines.
Exactly. It raises some profound questions about identity,
Right.
authenticity, and even the nature of reality itself. But that's what makes this so intriguing.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about a new gadget or app here. We're talking about a technology that has the potential to fundamentally change the way we interact with the world and with each other.
Okay, I'm officially feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe we should take a step back and focus on what we've learned about PlayHT specifically.
Okay.
They seem to be at the forefront of this whole AI voice generation thing.
They do seem to be leading the pack. Their platform is user-friendly.
Yeah.
They offer a huge library of voices, and their pricing is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Plus, they're making a point of emphasizing ethical considerations,
Right.
which is important in a field with so much potential for misuse.
Right, because as cool as this tech is, there's definitely a dark side to consider.
Yeah.
Deepfakes, misinformation.
Yeah.
It's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll save that for another deep dive.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But for now, let's stay focused on the positive potential of this technology. What excites you most about the possibilities of AI voice generation?
Honestly, I'm most intrigued by the potential for accessibility.
Okay.
Imagine being able to create audiobooks or podcasts that are accessible to people who are blind or have low vision. Or think about how this could help people with learning disabilities who struggle with reading.
Right.
That's where I see the real power of this technology.
That's a beautiful thought, and it really highlights the importance of using this technology responsibly and thoughtfully.
Yeah.
It's not just about entertainment or convenience. It's about creating a more inclusive and accessible world for everyone.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, so we've talked about the big picture implications,
Yeah.
the potential benefits,
Right.
and even some of the ethical concerns. But what about for the average person?
Right.
Where do you see this technology fitting into everyday life?
Well, imagine having Your own personal AI assistant
Okay.
who can read your emails aloud, schedule appointments,
Hmm.
and even have casual conversations with you.
Interesting.
Or think about using AI voices to create personalized bedtime stories for your kids or
Hmm.
to help you learn a new language.
Those are great examples. It's like having a team of virtual helpers at your beck and call,
Yeah,
all with different voices and personalities. It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
it is. And the best part is, this technology is becoming increasingly accessible
Yeah.
with platforms like PlayHT.
Right.
Anyone can experiment with AI voice generation and discover its potential for themselves.
Mm.
It's not just a tool for big corporations or tech experts anymore.
Yeah.
It's something that anyone can use to enhance their creativity, productivity,
Mm-hmm.
and even their personal lives.
I love that. So what's the big takeaway for our listeners today? What do we want them to walk away thinking about?
I think the main takeaway is that AI voice generation is no longer a futuristic fantasy.
Hmm.
It's here.
Right.
It's powerful, and it's changing the world in ways we're only just beginning to understand.
Yeah.
Whether you're a content creator, an educator,
Mm.
or simply someone who loves to listen and learn,
Right.
this technology has something to offer you.
It's definitely a lot to wrap your head around. And as always, we like to leave our listeners with something to ponder. So here's a question for you. If you could create your own AI voice, what would it sound like? Would you go for something warm and familiar, or maybe a bit more out there, like a Morgan Freeman-esque baritone to narrate your life?
Huh? I think I'd go for a voice that's a mix of calming and authoritative.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, perfect for recording those guided meditations I never seem to find time for.
Right.
But seriously, the fact that we can even ASK that question is pretty mind-blowing. We're talking about customizing the very sound of information. It makes you wonder, how will this shape the way we perceive and trust information in the future?
Right. If anyone can have a voice that sounds like, say, a famous scientist or a trusted news anchor, how do we know what's real anymore? It's almost like we need a whole new set of listening skills for this AI-powered world.
Absolutely. We need to become more discerning listeners, more critical thinkers. It's not just about what we hear, but about understanding the context, the source,
Mhm.
the potential biases behind any information, whether it's delivered by a human or an AI.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the nuts and bolts of how AI voices work to the broader implications for society and even our own personal lives.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I encourage everyone listening to keep exploring this topic. Play around with Play, HT's free trial, see what you can create, and start thinking about how this technology might impact your world.
Couldn't agree more. The future of AI voice generation is full of possibilities, both exciting and, let's face it, a little bit daunting. But one thing's for sure, it's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely. So keep listening, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Until next time.